come to realize that I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I understand a few things, but there's so much more to know. And it's like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
What's up, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to the YOD podcast with the one and only Tough is Good, Smart is Better. Are you coachable? Choose to succeed. And then, John Rubin. Find everything YOD at www.theyodpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following, commenting, and sharing the YOD podcast. All right. John, this is not our first time here at the temple. We've been here probably like roughly a year ago, or maybe even more. Just briefly share with the audience the importance of the temple, the importance of the Buddhist faith for you, and a little bit more.
I think everybody has a form of a sanctuary, and if they don't, it's something that at some point you do look for. I don't remember exactly when I first came in, but just as you can tell when we come in here, as quiet and serene as it is, it's like it's so quiet you can hear the quietness, and it's so peaceful in here you can feel the peace. And it's something that I love and enjoy and am very much attracted to. And so when I have to, I want to say maybe even spiritually decompress, I know where to go. Like I know how to do it's like they call it in the higher level, they call it sadhana, and that's like higher level of meditation. And when you're really high with that, according to the teaching, it's not just you sit to achieve it, it's like 24/7. I mean, I'm still learning, but in my heart of hearts, it's kind of like when the observing self is observing. So you're conscious of being conscious. You are aware of your thoughts. You're like that mountain that doesn't move and the clouds keep coming and going, but the centerpiece is that mountain piece. That's the consciousness. And then the thoughts float like clouds. The fact that you're aware of that's sadhana. And so that's like a continuous spiritual analogy, if you will. But when there's a time for decompression, to just even let go of that, it's like there's always an inhale and an exhale. You can't always inhale and you can't always exhale. There's rhythm. And so this is like a reset for me when I come here. Buddhism, and the best thing I can tell for those that aren't too familiar with it, because I could go on and on and on and take forever to get through it. There's a book, I can't remember the man's name, young man that wrote it, did a great job. It says a Buddhism Plain and Simple. Small book, soft cover, quick read, and I read it cover to cover, and it really sums it up. Probably better than almost all. Everything else go way deep in the doctrines and whatnot, and that's fine. If you become an enthusiast, then of course you go that route. But to just get an understanding, no, just get the book Buddhism, Plain and Simple. It's all said and done as a philosophy, not so much of a theology, but yet when there's a saying that says, whenever you get 5 or more people together, you're gonna have religion and politics. Doesn't matter, because the 5 people ain't going to agree on everything. Well, it's the same when it comes to theology and this kind of thing. When you study up on the beginning of Buddhism, the movement, the thought, the whole thing was Siddhartha Gautama, the original Buddha. And on his passing, all the writings and doctrine stuff I've seen, he made it clear to the Sangha, and the Sangha is like the fellowship, the monks that were following him and listening and learning from him. He was making it clear, like, keep being awake and keep consciousness going. Be aware of being aware and conscious and all the virtual stuff. But don't turn this into a religion. That's not what it is. Yet it happened anyway. And like I said, we're back to if you got 5 or more people, well, you're going to have that. And it's like a split hair difference between dogma. Dogma is when you worship, like sincerely worship an object as a representation of a spiritual movement, and there are rituals within Buddhist practice. When you understand that the depth of Buddhism, the rituals of Buddhist practice, is a piece of reminding yourself to stay aware, and the point not necessarily worshiping an object. That wasn't Buddha's thing either. But still, at the highest level, it's an understanding, like the deepest understanding of sincere awareness and respect. So no matter what it falls in the category, and it's going to fall in the category of religion due to seeing the rituals and the following and this and that. But for me, what attracted me and will probably forever keep me attracted to Buddhism is my understanding of Siddhartha's teaching. And it's all these very virtuous principles, but still, when it's all said and done, it's be aware of being aware. Keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, be awake to reality, in whatever forms it take. And stay virtuous, just be a good person. And that's what works for me. Because you can go to, and there's so many other different sects and whatnot. The Thai culture is a Theravada Buddhism, and many see that as the closest practice to what Siddhartha taught in the beginning. Theravada implies, they call the small vehicle, little vehicle. I think Thailand, Burma, I think Laos, can't remember other places. But then you got Mahayana Buddhism, and that refers to the large vehicle. That's China, Japan, Korea. I want to say parts of India, too. And for those that don't know, Siddhartha is Indian. He came from India as well. But Buddhism, in a simplified term, is kind of like they said Buddhism is like Hinduism stripped and broken down for export. It's like a simplified thing. But it's different. And Buddhism and Buddhist teachings is more welcoming. There's no sectism in it. There's no big I, little you. No, we're all one piece. We're all, it's inclusive, not separate in any way, shape, or form. So that's another major attraction for me. So it's a mental, it's a very much spiritual, and where they come together with that, it's that split hair. It just works fine for me. So, and for me, not pretentious. I love coming here, and then I'll wrap it up. But I love coming here when I do. Because you can't fake the vibe of feeling welcome somewhere and not, like, right off the bat. And always welcome and never bothered, because I'm not that kind of person anyway. My nature is a little bit of a loner. And I don't know, I'm just comfortable in my own skin. I don't need a fucking entourage. Oops, one. I don't need an entourage. I won't do that again. And I just travel, and wherever I go, that's where I am. And they've seen, and it's about 20 years I've been coming here, that this ain't an act for me. I'm not putting on a show. I'm not here for attention. I like the fact that I enjoy being here. And every major monk or the head monks or the directors and assistant directors here throughout, I've always made friends with, even to this day. And so when I come, they know I come and I mean it. I come, I say my prayers, I give my donation. I'll say it. I have lunch when they provide it. Pay my donation, then I eat, I sit. I don't really get involved with, chat and conversation. That's not my thing. I'm not here for that. I love watching little kids play. I love watching people just be and do, and everybody just do their thing. There's no overbearing shower of guilt that's constantly put on you. None of that. And it's just comfortable. And then once I'm satiated, I leave. It's almost like I float in like a leaf with the wind, and then when the wind blows, I float away. I've always thought that's how it should be. I couldn't see for 1 second, even with this. If someone asked me about the Buddhist stuff, and I'll explain it, but that's as far as I'll go with it. I'll never say you should do this or you. No, if you want, okay. If you don't, okay. That's the Buddhist way. I just like that. So.
That's what's up. You mentioned guilt and just religion and spirituality and just obviously the aspect with five or more people. When it comes to religion and spirituality, is the difference for you in terms of just like the man's order, and or is it more so that you feel like spirituality should be the order and how, like you said, just your oneness, how you feel, how you want to worship, is that all the order you need when it comes to your prayers and your faith and everything like that?
Yeah, it's the sense of my definition, sense of because I almost say in my humble opinion, because my opinion is strong as can be, but just I'm one person I know. But I just feel that it's an offshoot of when my dad said, Junior, treat everybody the way you want to be treated. I want to be treated with respect. I want to be treated nice. If it can't be done, then I want to be left alone. I do the same thing. I reflect the same thing. And so with spirituality, I think is coming from that vein, not, well, if you don't do this, you are wrong. If you don't do this, and it's just the beat down of this is the way and everything else is wrong. Just nature, just on its face, it's like there's a problem with that. And especially when it's like there's so many different variations of how an individual feel. Well, I'm one to respect it. That's fine if it floats your boat and you feel good. The common goal or the common character trait that matters to me, regardless of what someone titles themselves, just be a good person and treat other people with respect. It doesn't matter. You can call yourself a doorknob, be a good doorknob. But you call yourself a piece of gold and you are horrible and evil and do foul stuff. Does it matter you call yourself gold or you see yourself as gold, but you're doing bad? It just, they don't go together. So, spirituality is, I think, the ability to even see all of what I just said in the first place. It's like to see the whole, not section off. I kind of look at it like if Earth was mad at Mars and Mars was pissed off at Jupiter and Jupiter was mad at the sun. We're one solar system. Kind of got to hang together, because if we don't, we float off. It won't even work. I don't see the difference. I really don't. And the universe itself, at least from the scientific evidence and the X-ray scope or whatever, I'm a little bit weird. I look at all that stuff too. And the known universe itself, as far as they could go, it still ended up narrowing down to some kind of a sphere-looking thing. But they know that there's no such thing as, well, if infinity is infinity, well, then they know what they can see, but then what's behind what they can't see. So it's just the vastness of it. Nonetheless, it's all a whole. It's still a whole piece. So the separation piece is just, I don't know. It's just foolish. That's all. But it ain't gonna change people. It's just how it is. And so I think, like I said, all I can do is just voice my perspective and how I really feel, and that's about it. It's not a push. It's not a preach. It's not a, hey, this way, or and if it's not, then you're wrong. No, this is right for me. It's like the shoe fit good for me. Find the shoe that fits for you. Just don't kick somebody. I suppose, if that makes any sense.
Definitely. We talk a lot about Black culture and obviously Black history and just the impact of just living as a Black man. Mm-hmm. When it comes to Buddhism, obviously in the Black culture, you're saying you have the Black church and everything like that, and mm-hmm. traditional Christianity and all that. When you first came to Buddhism, or when you first decided that this was going to be your way of worship, this was going to be your way of spirituality, your prayers and everything like that, mm-hmm. was there any pushback from your immediate community or any community at all when you ran into other Black people in the gym and you're like, hey, what's about?
I'm laughing because that's funny. Truth be told, when I really reflect back, and I touch on a lot of this stuff in our podcast, like how I was called an old man trapped in a young boy's body when I was 5. Well, it took a good about 15 years, so about 20, 21, 20, yeah, right around there. And I mean, it'd been brewing the whole time. My point is, my outlook and view of things has been Buddhist all along. I didn't know what it was called. I didn't know, others that are a Buddhist mindset. I don't want to keep time with the dogmatic perspective because that exists too. But when you really read what Siddhartha taught, like all the doctrines, that's not the play, because it's a strong push on wisdom. Like with me, I'll take it and then I'll hitchhike or connect with human behavior. We can wrap up with right and wrong all day, but people still do what they do. So then it begs the question, why? And I can never stop asking why. I'm just trying to understand why. If I understand why, I can make a better decision. So the sum of it all, like I said, is that I just come to realize, oh, okay, the way I think and act ain't weird after all. I ain't the only one. This ain't new. And then even the further back I go and I understand there's different high spiritual teachers that precedes even all of that. And those they call them the Upanishads and the teachings of the Vedas. And a lot of that is like a platform for a lot of Hinduism, Jainism, and then of course Buddhism. Like it all has its pieces and whatnot and parts. But at the higher level, it's still wisdom, and human behavior. Like I say all the time, with all the technology that we have, people still do people stuff. That has not changed. So it's just an understanding, okay, well, let the ball bounce, that's fine, but don't take your eye off the ball. Just relax your eyes and keep watching the ball. Now, no one can teach you that it's just that way. It's like in any sport, all coaches say you can't teach heart, the fight game. You can't teach tough. You're born that way. And there's different sliding scales on it, but you can teach or improve whatever you are. Well, that's the same with this kind of a mindset. It's not something that's arbitrary. You just wake up and you speak a certain way, you act a certain way. My sisters always said I was weird. My cousins always thought I was, odd and all this other stuff. Not in a bad way, but just that I was the one that would ask questions where they just wouldn't think. And I'm just like, man, even as a kid, like, but I mean, this just don't make sense. Like, why we doing it? You can't turn that off. It's not, nobody primed the pump. It just came from within. And so it's just it's a seeking and a searching thing. So I never got there. Even my classmates and whatnot, when I was in, it was funny. Like I was super quiet, until of course I had something to say, and a little bit shy, but not at first. Some of the shyness in me, when I reflect now, kind of got beat into me because I kept speaking up, and they were like, "Shut up," just. That didn't stop me from thinking what I was thinking and feeling what I was feeling, though. I didn't want to get another butt whipping. And so I had to spend years deprogramming that and just be myself, just be myself. And I mean, yeah, our parents love us, but they can only work with what they know too. It's just, I don't know. I've just come to terms with a whole bunch of things, but I'm viewed different when those get to know me. And then of course I'm viewed, I don't know, some just assume. And I as of lately, because I got myself in better shape and whatnot, and I could feel it. It's like it's fun. But I totally forgot how shallow some guys can be. And I'm like, wait, what is this? And I think, oh, that's a compliment. You can look at it as an offense. It's like, no. It's like, okay, so my physical appearance is bothering your vibe, but it's like the fact that I'm at my age, I'm thinking, hold up, that I'm even relevant in that way is funny, but I'll take the compliment though. So it's still, that is like an example of the play on perception. And whether I'm black or otherwise. It's like, who is this guy? And then I'm fine with it because I'm human in that I have insecurities like everybody else, but I ain't never been insecure. There's a difference. I know who I am. And it's like, I'm good at this, man. I ain't good at that, and I work on it, but it's a struggle. That's an insecurity. Am I beat up because, I struggle with this? Nope, don't care. I'll get by, this kind of thing. And so when I see somebody and I pick up on that and we start talking, it only takes a little bit amount of time when they really understand me, they deflate. All this nonsense tension is like, dude, that's in your head. I'm not a threat. I'm the last person you need to be concerned with. I'll never be offensive in any way. Definitely not intentionally. Yeah. So no, none of my classmates, even Marines I work with, everything this way has never been surprising to them. It's like all I get from most of them is like they'll say, Ruben, you always been seeking knowledge, and you always been a bit of a teacher. Helly, those two, my first wife, she said, I can't remember, we were talking about something once way back, and she said, Ruben, she said, nobody can be around you for long and not learn something. She said, you different. You always like getting information, learn, understand, and just talking with you, you bring up things that most don't pay attention to, and it's not nonsense. I'm like, wow. She said, no. And you're a little weird, but in a good way. That's it.
Thanks again for tuning in to the YOD podcast with the one and only Ajan Rubin. Be sure to check out www.theyodpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for following. Thanks for commenting and sharing the YOD podcast.